Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media and listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. And we're now in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for folks living in San Diego County, food insecurity, financial literacy, working with the homeless, Alzheimer's. They are with us shoulder to shoulder for many, many, many years. Always good that we have in the house friends from San Diego Oasis. We got Meagan McKissick, Vice President of Philanthropy. How you doing, Meagan?
Doing great. Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm on the advisory board of San Diego Oasis, and I need to step up my game. So we won't tell Simona that, even though she's fully aware on this. So I'm going to make a promise. I got to do a better job in helping support you folks. You're joined by your colleague Michelle Irby. She is in charge of Intergenerational Tutor program manager. How you doing there, Michelle?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having us.
How long you been with Oasis?
It's been over 4 years now.
For you, where were you before?
I worked for the county. I'm a transplant from the Carolinas, so I just got here and got right to work. But I'm doing what I really love, which is working with people.
Yeah, very, very good. It was so sorry to hear about your Tar Heels last night. Okay.
I don't want to talk about that, Drew.
Okay, very good. Well, I was going to... If you guys thought this was talking about Oasis, we're talking about March Madness. We're going to break down every single game on this. Meagan, let me ask you this. Are you a sports fan?
I am.
And who's your favorite college team?
My college team is UNC as well. I have a daughter who's a Tar Heel right now.
We're getting dominated by the ACC, for God's sake. Is that right? What is her major?
She's a chemistry major.
Okay. And did you go to school at UNC?
I did not. I went to Vandy, so I have another dog in the fight for the March Madness.
You know what? Listen, I love it. The SEC is being absolutely represented here. I spent a year in doing a master's program at Ole Miss in that aspect of it. San Diego State over here with Jacob, and one of my co-hosts, Jacob Salata. He is a senior at San Diego State Journalism and Media Studies, joined by the other co-host, Noah Brady, audio engineer, and going to be host of the upcoming Garage Band San Diego. Noah, where'd you go to college?
I went to SFSU.
Very good. San Francisco State University. And what was your major?
Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts.
All right. That sounds good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started right now. I know Jacob has a question for you. We'll start with you, Meagan.
Yeah, absolutely. Just talk me through the mission of your organization.
Absolutely. At San Diego Oasis, our mission is to combat senior isolation and to promote healthy aging. And we wake up every day thinking about older adults and what their next chapter might entail. So we offer over 4,500 classes a year in lifelong learning, health and wellness, and volunteering. So.
Yeah, certainly St. Paul Senior Service as well. You guys
Absolutely.
always work well together, serving seniors. Now the San Diego Senior Community Foundation, that's going to be coming on, and that we cannot emphasize that enough. And as of course it was Michael and Mikhail was saying, President and CEO of St. Paul's Senior Services. Listen, we're living longer. We got to exercise those minds and so forth, and with the mind comes the health and all that business. Talk about some of the offerings. You have a ton of offerings for the seniors.
Absolutely. So I always tell folks when they come and see Oasis that you can pretty much learn anything that you're interested in at Oasis. Yesterday, we had a group of older adults who were in an intermediate Spanish class. Right next door to that classroom, we had silk scarf dyeing. We had individuals doing cardio drumming in our wellness studio. We offer history, humanities, and then we also offer adults a meaningful place to volunteer through our tutoring program. So you really can find any class you're thinking of at Oasis.
How about music?
We offer music. We have guitar, ukulele. We offer learning how to sing. We have plenty of music classes. It's a huge
Noah,
part.
you want to just jump in and talk about how you can help out San Diego Oasis with your background?
Yeah, if somebody like me is interested in coming and volunteering, how can we reach out and make that happen?
That's a great question. So we offer volunteers a chance to plug in a variety of different ways. We're always looking for new classes. So we would love to find out from interested community members whether or not they might have a talent they could loan to Oasis or to come and teach a class.
And is there a website that we could go to apply?
Yes.
Volunteer?
Yes, there is a form on our website, sandiegoOasis.org, where you can actually propose an idea for a class, and our program manager would reach out to you and see if it might be a fit for our adults.
Amazing.
So tell them what your expertise is.
I'm an audio engineer myself, and I got into that just so that I could be around music all the time and contribute to creativity in a way that's not necessarily just my own, but be able to facilitate other people's creativity. And I think it would be really cool. I was thinking about it in the last interview that we did, that what if, I think seniors might not have the opportunities or not pursue the opportunity to record their own music that they might be writing or might have in their head. Maybe there's a way to encourage seniors to get that music out of their head and record them, especially before the end of their life, because once they're gone, everything that they could have created is gone with them. So I think it would be really special and really important to try to facilitate that if we can.
So we got one more class to add to Megan's list of things to do over there. I think that's a great idea. Michelle, I love the title of what you do, and here's a perfect example. We got two young folks in here co-hosting, and it fits perfectly into your wheelhouse. Talk about your job.
Yeah, so as the Intergenerational Tutoring Program Manager, keyword intergenerational. So we're taking the older adult members of Oasis and connecting them with lower income students in San Diego County schools. We're currently working with 10 districts, 52 schools, and so we partner with these schools and we train the volunteers to go in and spend an hour once a week with the same student, and they help them with reading, with writing, talking. It's really a mentorship program to give these kids a consistent older adult who can be in their lives, show up for them, encourage them, help build their confidence.
Do you work with National School District?
Not currently,
okay,
but we're open to other districts.
Okay, so the person right to your left is the son of the superintendent of the National School District.
Perfect.
I'll get your contact and
Let's
I'll get you over to her.
chat. Yes, for sure. We're always welcome to have new districts partner with us.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Is part of your role also to try to get some of the folks like the Noahs and the Jacobs into San Diego Oasis? Obviously, Noah's talking about here's a class we can offer. Are there other opportunities to engage folks like Noah and Jacob with what you're doing?
This is something that I'm really interested in, hence intergenerational.
Right.
In the past, it's always been for tutoring older adults, elementary kids, but I did a pilot last year with some high school students at Poway High School, and we did kind of a digital learning mentorship where the older adults would impart their knowledge on business, resume building, things like that, and the teens helped them with learning about how to download a podcast or how to transfer their music from a CD to Apple Music, things like that. So it was a dual mentorship program. So there is an opportunity to work with other generations for sure.
Which is obviously all that does is benefit both generations on this, because of the absolute wealth knowledge in our seniors is just off the charts on this. I know, Jacob, you got another question for Megan.
Yeah. I just want to talk about Oasis Access, right? It supports low-income and at-risk seniors. And how can you tell us more, I guess, about the initiative and why it's so important right now, and what you guys are doing?
Certainly. So we reach over 4,500 adults every year, but we realized that there was a significant number of older adults who were at home and unable to get to us. And a huge issue for seniors is transportation. So with Oasis Access, we created an initiative where we could actually provide transportation and scholarship classes in low-income communities that need what Oasis offers. So we piloted this last year in 2025, and we've been serving over 140 seniors already. And the demand for this is huge. We have low-income residential communities that have asked us to work with them to bring classes, to bring wellness, lifelong learning classes, and just to be in their community and provide our programs.
Yeah, I think as we mentioned in the first episode, Noah and Jacob, certainly, there's a lot of these groups, and I'll ask this question first with Meagan, and then we can pivot over to Michelle on it. And this has sort of been the premise when we started our Spotlight on the Community show in 2007, okay? It was called Internet Radio, for God's sake, back in the day, right? But our whole focus was to how are people working together? Because if you live in a silo, you'll die in a silo, okay? And there's a lot of groups. So I'll start with you on this, Meagan, and then Michelle, you can add to it. Talk about how you work with groups like St. Paul's or Serving Seniors or the others. And listen, if there's some things that they can do that you can't do, that's great, and the vice versa.
Absolutely. Please know that it takes an entire safety net of senior serving organizations working together to address the growing need that we have in San Diego to assist seniors with a variety of issues. So for one example would be with Oasis Access, we quickly identified that if we were serving older adults and we transported them to our center and they took 2 classes in the middle, there might be a time frame during the day where those adults needed lunch. And so we are working with Serving Seniors because they do a wonderful job of feeding low-income seniors. So we're partnering with them, and they have made it possible for us to offer lunch for our seniors that are coming to Oasis. We refer to one another all the time. We work together. I actually had a meeting with Elder Help last week to find out how they might be able to bring some seniors to Oasis through their Seniors A Go-Go transportation program. And so we're very tightly connected. We can't operate without one another.
There's no question about it. When we come back from break, we're going to ask more of those questions. I know Noah has some in his mind, too, as does Jacob. I'm really fascinated more to learn about the Intergenerational Tutor program as well. We are back with Meagan McKissick, Vice President of Philanthropy for San Diego Oasis, joined by her colleague, Michelle Irby, Intergenerational Tutor Program Manager. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. And we'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Always a good day when we have our friends from San Diego Oasis in the house. Meagan McKissick, Vice President of Philanthropy, joined by her colleague Michelle Irby, Intergenerational Tutor Program Manager. Honored to have as my co-host Noah Brady, an audio engineer and going to be the host of an upcoming Cloudcast podcast called Garage Band San Diego, and Jacob Sletta. He's a senior at San Diego State, Journalism and Media Studies, and going to be finishing up in about a month or two. I'll address this to you, Michelle, and then over to Meagan, and then definitely want Noah and Jacob to weigh in on this. Publicizing the needs of seniors is absolutely paramount to what both of you folks are doing. Now, that sounds like the most obvious statement in the history of the world, but there are so many of them, and there is no question. You guys live in this space, and I think it's been a little bit eye-opening for Noah and Jacob to hear, my goodness, there's going to be a whole wealth issue. People are going to run out of money as we get older in this aspect. So, Michelle, how are you getting the word out on what you folks are doing? Are you using social media? Are you using skywriting, carrier pigeons, everything in between?
All the above.
Okay.
For tutoring specifically, word of mouth is our biggest advertiser. We have some tutors who've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. And so they tell their communities, their neighbors about it. And so that's usually how we get a lot of people coming to ask, walk-ins to either of our La Mesa or Rancho Bernardo locations. But we also have a big social media presence. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. Also, we do a weekly e-blast that we send out to our members. And so we're just getting the word out there any way that we can.
Yeah, that's what. How about you, Meagan? What other things are going on that we can help you with, especially with Noah and Jacob and their skill set?
Well, we publish north of 10,000 catalogs every 2 months with all of our class offerings that change every 2 months. So we have a very dynamic course offering. And what we would like to do is find more locations that might be willing to host our catalogs. It's incredibly costly to mail them. So now we have volunteers who take catalogs out into the community because our demographic still loves to have a paper reference point. So they like to look for their classes and circle them and come to our catalog release parties, which we hold every 2 months for about 250 individuals at each site. So come to our party or pick up a catalog. We're happy to deliver catalogs all over San Diego.
How closely do you work with the universities like San Diego State, where Jacob goes?
We could probably do a better job, honestly, of working with the universities. I'm sure we could dream up something we could do together. We definitely, as Michelle said, would love to involve students in intergenerational work with our older adults.
Well, I can be your pigeon carrier if you need. Absolutely.
Perfect.
And catalogs, absolutely. I think that's really important, especially with the community so big at SDSU. And I'm graduating myself. I'm going to be joining the workforce too. So it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So I think just starting right there is absolutely really imperative too with the youth as well.
We'll link it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things that I don't think we addressed when we were chatting with Michael McHale, President and CEO of St. Paul's Senior Services, but it is a huge deal, and it's a major issue. Always has been a major issue, but it's just absolutely elevated, is isolation. And you hear that term over and over and over again as more and more folks were aging, and some of their family is not here or they've gone away. Meagan, talk about it. It's an issue. It's a huge issue.
It really is. Recent research has shown that chronic social isolation is more deadly than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And isolated seniors are at risk for many more health issues, such as dementia, heart disease, all of the things that you worry about for your grandparents or your parents. We know that a senior who's sitting at home without connections does not have the motivation to take care of their health as well. When we have people coming to Oasis and they walk through our doors to take a class, what they're doing is finding a community, and those are friends that check up on them, that say, "Hey, I heard this happened to you. I heard you're not doing super well. Did you go to that doctor's appointment? Have you been taking care of yourself?" And we do the same for our volunteers. We have over 100 volunteers that work with us day in and day out, some of whom need a ride, some of whom need a new friend, and they need something to learn and keep them active. We know that cognitive health is just as important as far as exercise goes. Cognitive exercise is just as important as taking care of your physical health.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And, Michelle, especially when in your program, when you're, working with the seniors who are either reading to different groups or the folks are coming in, or maybe Noah working with a class in the music and this aspect of it. I don't think people look at this that way, because when they're not isolated, whether they're young like Noah and Jacob, or they're surrounded by folks, it's impossible for me to be isolated because I get to talk to folks every single week and on many shows and all this aspect. But if you take a step back and say, man, what would it be like? It's just me, and I'm so glad you used that reference to the mental health in this area, which makes it more incumbent upon working with folks like Jacob at SDSU or Noah and his group as well. Michelle, we love to have the magic wand component of our interview, which means you can ask for anything you like because I'm giving you a magic wand. What would significantly enhance the world you are in helping the seniors? You could ask for anything.
Money.
Good. No, perfect. That's
Show
good.
me the money.
Okay.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit. I mean, we have a lot of amazing community partners, but there's always room for more, in addition to volunteers, but just money. And Meagan can speak more to the fundraising efforts. But that's one of the big things that we need, like everybody else.
Right, yeah, Meagan. So how you folks are doing this? By the classes, of course, and you get some sponsors, you foundation money. Do you get any money from the government?
We are luckily not heavily funded by government grants or local grants that are city or county funding, because we know it's a difficult time for those receiving government and federal funding right now. The program fees at Oasis account for only 45% of what we need to run our organization. The rest we fundraise. Right.
And I think, it's something we've been talking about for the 20 years we've been on this Spotlight podcast. There's no such thing as a small donation. There's no such thing as a small volunteer time. If all you can afford is $10, we'll take 10.
Absolutely.
Maybe next month it's 20, or next year it's 30. And when you add that up, and every one of those dollars, okay, as you look at the mass of the people that live in San Diego County. And I think that's something that it would be incumbent upon, Jacob, when he goes back to San Diego State, and Noah and his world as well. Those go a long way in that aspect of it. And once you get one person to volunteer. I'll start with you on this, Meagan, then pivot over to Michelle. You sort of answered some of this. What can we do to support your efforts? Obviously, bring money in.
Yes, please share the word about Oasis to other people. As Michelle mentioned, word of mouth is our biggest communication tool. Think about an older adult in your community who might be alone or might need connection, and refer them to us. Have them stop by, bring them to us. Also, you can certainly check out our website and look at a variety of different classes that anyone can register for. 50 and up, by the way. Share the word that we're not just for grandparents, right? We serve all adults 50 and up. So really, if you can help share the word, in April, we'll have a huge fundraising campaign, our spring campaign, and everyone's donation in April and May will be matched up to $50,000.
That's fantastic. What's the website again?
San Diego Oasis.org.
Very good. Michelle, any final comments you'd like to make?
I always need more tutors. As we look to expand into new schools, new districts, I have to have the tutors to support. There's no lack of students that need the help. And so the best way to volunteer as a tutor is to go to our website, as we mentioned. There's an online form that you can fill out, or just stop by either of our locations, and I'm happy to have a sit down and chat with you about tutoring for the upcoming 26-27 school year.
I think that's fantastic. Well, always good to see our friends from San Diego Oasis, and give a high five to Simona for me when you get back into the office. Meagan McKissick, Vice President of Philanthropy, joined by her colleague Michelle Irby, Intergenerational Tutor Program Manager. To Noah and Jacob, another fine job of co-hosting. We really appreciate you giving up some of your time and to our listeners. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.